The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
It's a numbers game. Welcome into Thursday, July the 16th. Be with you. I'm Dustin Sweetelson. He's Kelly Bidlin. Thanks for hanging out with us today to get you set for the day. Still to come on the program, we're going to look at the NFC East. We'll preview the baseball second half with the Mets and Phillies getting underway today. Christian Scott, Aaron Nola. I have a pitcher prop that I'm betting on each of them. That's later on, though, in the show. We get tweets at Dustin Sweetelson, at Kelly Bidlin, at VSiN Live. And Evan Klein may have just won tweet of the day.
Wow, a new winner.
A new winner.
Okay.
It's been superseded. So last segment, we're going to ask our next guest about this. So I'm doing this early to brace him for it before I read the tweet.
Hoof cleaning?
Not hoof cleaning. We're not on that right now. But I did because Kylian Mbappe, it sounds like Mbop. It makes me think of Hanson. I admitted, and I've done it a couple times here on the network, that when I was a child, I want to keep you all in mind, I was the same age as these kids.
Yeah.
But the band Hanson, I had a crush on the youngest one until I found out they were boys. Evan Klein writes in, the CIA couldn't beat that type of information out of me about Hanson. Zach Cohen joins us now. He's the host of Hardwood Handicappers, breaking down the NBA every single day. Also does great Wimbledon or tennis coverage. Wimbledon's over. Tennis coverage over at VSiN.com on top of many other things. At Betting on X, you can find him on social media. Zach, do you remember Mbop coming out and the Hanson brothers as their band taking the nation by storm? Do you not remember people had crushes on them, then finding out they were girls? Is that just me?
I don't remember it coming out at all. And I also feel like I thought the words were like doo-wop for a really long time.
Look, I'm not going to fully have your back on this one, but I know what you're saying.
It sounds right.
I understand what you're saying.
I was like 9 years old.
And I remember the video. They all looked like girls. Like all of them.
When did Mbop? How old are you, Zach? I think you're a little bit younger than me.
I'm 91, born in 91.
Yeah, so you're a little bit younger. Mbop came out 97. You know what? I was a little bit older than I thought. I was 7.
I was watching
I was
Johnny
12 years
Bravo.
old. I was 12 years old. It might have been a little bit old to be admitting this right now. Either way, we will move on because I am not being painted in the best light by myself, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We just
My
keep thinking that hole, buddy.
My therapist would call this self-sabotage.
Yep.
It's something we're working on, but it's never going to go away. Let's talk a little Summer League. And the thing that Kelly and I keep coming back to is the Caleb Wilson of it all. I knew Caleb Wilson was a dog. I knew Caleb Wilson could play in the post. I did not know he could shoot the 3-ball. I love the opportunity. I love the situation. Now, as far as Rookie of the Year goes, he went from 9-1 to 5-1 with some of these performances in Summer League. Do you still think there's value at 5-1, or at this point you're going to wait and see how things start at the beginning of the year?
I think there is some value. I kind of think it's going to be between him and Boozer, and I went into this really, really hot for Boozer to win Rookie of the Year. I think that that's the most NBA-ready rookie to kind of impact winning and just kind of be the hub of his team's offense. But the way that Wilson's playing and the way that they are allowing him to play in Summer League makes me think that he's going to have a massive on-ball role in Chicago right from day one. And it has looked really, really good with that jumper. And I'm like you, I thought he was going to be really good, but I thought he was going to be more of like a small ball big that impacted games with like his mobility, his athleticism, his energy. I'm seeing way more of like a talented wing than I ever saw at UNC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think well said, Zach. That is my kind of conclusions as well. If you're approaching Rookie of the Year right now, I don't think there's a bet to be made right now. Though that these odds have shifted, I'd probably just be waiting for the start of the season here. But those would be the only two guys I'd be considering right now too. I think just because of the usage rates. Anything else Summer League wise that's jumped out to you? Biggest takeaways. Rookies are kind of the first thing we go to, the star rookie class, and for good reason. Anything else team wise, player wise that's really jumped out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like as we kind of look at Cleveland in this upcoming season and what they might be able to do if they're able to bring in LeBron or they're not, but Malik Thomas being as good as he has been in Vegas so far, kind of surprising. And that is something that they could absolutely use is some firepower off the bench. I mean, he's leading the Summer League in points per game at 28 points per game, looks really electric as a shot creator. So just kind of having him off the bench as like a 6-man type, you know, if you do want to opt to throw him in over like a Dennis Schroeder, that is something that's really interesting to me as we already kind of talk about a Cavaliers team that looks really good. Then there are two kind of sophomores that have been really good in my opinion, like Yegor Giomin looks like a star for Brooklyn. I think that he's going to be really, really good this upcoming season. And that kind of goes into a win total play that I want to talk about with you guys. And Kamal Malawach for the Suns has looked like a Joel Embiid light for Phoenix. And it just kind of changes the future of this Phoenix team if he's able to be, a starting five. I think that he's got a really good shot at being a special two-way player and shooting 40% from three in Vegas so far. So it's a really unique skill set.
VSiN senior editor Zachary Cohen is our guest. He's also the host of Hardwood Handicappers, available wherever you get your podcast, breaking down the NBA and the Summer League. You got a couple plays today. Let's look at those. Lakers laying 5.5 against the Bulls. Total in that matchup, 181.5. What jumps out to you here? And God bless you for doing this work for us.
Yes, I got a bad number on Chicago here. I took plus 3.5. My thinking with this game is that it does seem like Caleb Wilson's going to play. It does, of course, make a lot of sense to wait a little bit longer. I'm just working a little bit ahead with these. But if you get a little bit closer to tip and you see that Wilson is playing for Chicago, I would grab the points. The Lakers are undefeated in Summer League so far. That's great. But I think if Wilson is on the floor for Chicago, they have the best player on the floor. And I don't think the supporting cast is that much worse than what you're going to see out of LA. I think the Lakers are overperforming a little bit so far in the Summer League. And I do think that they are due for a loss. So I know that Cameron Carr has been good, but I just can't see them winning convincingly against Wilson if Wilson's out there. So just keep an eye on, Twitter and, some beat reporters and stuff and just make sure who's in these lineups.
Yep, good call, Zach. And one more side you're looking at today, and I hope both of these come through because it would set up my futures a little bit better.
Yeah, I have the Nets on the money line, minus 141 against the Rockets. It's a little closer to minus 150 now. I would still take that. I already just kind of mentioned it. Like Yegor Giomin has been awesome. Michael Brown Jr. has looked good. And then this team is just so deep with talent, which we talked a little bit about last week. But I think this is the best team in the Summer League. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to play their guys. So that is another one where just kind of make sure you are keeping an eye on Twitter or wherever you kind of look to see that these lineups look the way we're expecting them to. But I would say with the Nets over the Bulls, it's like a little less reliant on Brown and Giomin being out there because there are a couple of other players on this Brooklyn team that can step up and play, like Ben Suraf, Danny Wolf. I'd be surprised if they pull kind of their second tier of young players. And we actually saw this Nets team playing down both Giomin and Brown hang with the Hawks, who have been the best team in Summer League.
Zach, win totals dropped this week, and I know Kelly's on this team. I know you're on this team. Mitch Moss has been on this team for a while to win the West, so he obviously likes the win total over, and I can't argue with it. I am so intrigued by the Utah Jazz. The addition of Peterson, I was a Peterson guy in the draft. I'm not taking a victory lap yet. It's Summer League, but God, does he look smooth and like a go-to guy on the wing. You combine with your guy that you had the propaganda that I was buying a year ago, and Keontae George is the most improved player. We haven't even seen what it looks like with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. Nurkic is back with the physicality. Ace Bailey developed last year. Collier off the bench. Filipowski off the bench. How do the Utah Jazz not get over this 35.5 win total?
Yeah, I really like Utah this year. I have backed off a little bit because I was with JVT and Mitch on like this team could potentially be like a sneaky top 4 team in the Western Conference next year. I think the Walker Kessler trade kind of knocked them down a little bit, but I still see them as a 35-win team. I think that if you just kind of think about what the offense is going to look like, I'd be stunned if they're not a top 10 team in terms of offensive efficiency. If they don't hit this mark, it's because the defense is just a complete disaster. And there's a chance that that happens. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good defender, but as far as the rest of the starting 5 goes, there really isn't anyone in there that you really trust to go out and get stops. So this could be very similar to Jazz teams of old where they're putting a lot on their big men. It's not going to be Rudy Gobert. It's going to be Jackson. But I do think that the offense is going to be special. And I think that the kind of youthful like exuberance they're going to play with will make them a really tough team to play in the regular season, and especially in Utah. This is always a good team when they are solid at playing at home, and I think they're going to be really good in Salt Lake City.
All right, before we let you go here, just the update. It's obligatory. We have to do it at this point, this stage of the game. LeBron James' next team. The market is up at Kalshi. Cleveland's 39%. Golden State's 32%. Miami's 15%. Philadelphia's 12%. If I were to say take Cleveland and Golden State out of it, is there anyone you really think he goes to other than those two?
I guess if it's not those two, I would say Philly. I mean, I think it would make like, I was going to say zero, but I guess little sense to me if LeBron ends his career in a 76ers uniform. But there have been some really good cases made for all of the connections he has there, whether it's, training with Tyrese Maxey, playing, I think, high school basketball with the new decision maker there.
Yep.
It understandably, he fits in perfectly as their starting four, and you slide Dean Wade to the bench, and all of a sudden you have Wade, you have Simons, you have, I don't know, whoever else off the bench. It makes a lot more sense than I think that I gave it credit for earlier in the offseason, but I don't really understand the connection to Philly. I feel like the basketball situation is very similar with the Cavaliers and Sixers. So just go end your career in Cleveland. No one will rip you if you go to Cleveland. We will rip you if you go to Philly.
Yeah, I keep coming back to the documentary. He's going to be, covering his entire final season. They're documented this thing. They want to put it out probably as a movie. To me, going to Philly loses the buzz. Going back home, ending where he started, that gives you a little bit more juice as far as that's concerned. If you want to see all of Zach's write-ups, including the tennis picks, VSiN.com, where he is our senior editor, and check out Hardwood Handicappers breaking down the NBA wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate the time as always, my friend. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Speaking of all that with Zach, there's no shortage of betting opportunities this summer, from baseball, the World Cup wrapping up. We've got the countdown to football season. That's why right now is the perfect time to lock in VSiN's football special for just $175. That's VSiN Pro Access now through the Super Bowl. Betting guides, NFL, college, and more down the road. Division races, upcoming season. We will help you attack all the futures. All you have to do, head to VSiN.com/subscribe right now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. We'll continue the NFL conversation, Offensive Player of the Year, and an MVP whose schedule lines up perfectly.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Good morning. Welcome on in. It's a numbers game. He is Kelly Bidlin. I'm Dustin Sweetelson. Thanks for being a part of the program today. It's a fun show to be here for. The British Open in progress as you wake up.
Man.
You're like wiping the crusties out of your eyes. You're like, well, how's my bet doing? Well, I'm looking down the leaderboard. I don't see my guys. This maybe isn't going well. As we stand right now, how about this? Daniel Brown, Sungjae Im, they're tied atop the leaderboard, both 4 under as they completed 66 in their first round today. Thomas Detry, Robert McIntyre, Molinari, Alex Smalley, Ryan Gerard, and most notably Bryson DeChambeau, 3 under, tied for third.
Yeah, 3 under par for Bryson. Good start for him. It's can't be an open. Feels very open-esque if you see a Francesco Molinari on the leaderboard, and especially Dan Brown, who hasn't made a cut in the last 4 events he teed it up
I don't
at.
know who that is.
Yeah, well, he had a brief moment at a Open in the past. That's the only reason you would. Otherwise, not really. He hasn't made a cut in the last 4 events he's played in. Then you got Sungjae Im, who a more well-known player who's had a disaster of a season coming up back off of an injury. A disaster of a season by his standards. But he's like, last time I checked, he was like second on the PGA, second to last on the PGA Tour in strokes gained on approach. He's lost on approach his last 8 events.
Looking at the betting odds right now, and there's certainly people out there, and we know this in gambling Twitter space, that would rather celebrate getting a great number than actually cashing a ticket.
Yeah.
And Scotty Scheffler, I kept telling you, I think he was, what was he, 7-1, 8-1, somewhere around there yesterday. Scotty Scheffler, after his start to the British Open, is tied for 9th, 2 under, and on the betting board is the favorite at plus 450. So congratulations, UCLV Warriors. If you bet around 7, 8-1, you've got a great ticket in hand based on it being 4.5 right now.
Yeah, 2 under for Scotty, just 2 off the lead. He's got to like where he's at. And this is, you got Rory just getting started. I believe he is still even par. Yeah, even par through 3 for Rory, even par for Xander through 3. Ludwig as well. Chris Goddard even par through 5.
All
Sam
the big
Burns.
names underway, though.
Yes,
Or finished.
everybody's out there. We have got a couple more tee times, but nobody you care about.
Yeah,
Marcus Plunkett. You looking forward to Marcus Plunkett? I don't even know who that is. There's a bunch of names.
related to Jim.
I don't think so. There's a bunch of names that have not teed off yet that I have not heard of.
Well, we're invested together on Matt Fitzpatrick. He's even through 3. Even through
Yep.
3 for Fitzy here. So that's the one we care about because we are very much in sync as far as that concerned.
I've got nobody in disaster territory, so that's nice.
I mean, that's all you're looking for day one, right?
Yeah. It's the old. You can't win a golf tournament on the first day, but you could lose one.
But I'm in a weird camp, maybe because I'm such a pessimist. I don't want my guy to be leading day one. I want him in the mix. I want him hungry with something to play for and prep for. I don't, just like we saw with England and Argentina yesterday, in sports, and we learned this as live bettors, most people don't have the constitution to play with a lead and win. That's what made Tiger so great in his prime. He'd get out in front and he'd just blow people away. That is always my concern when I'm betting these events. Maybe it's because I just get hurt by Ludwig Oberg whenever I bet him. He leads in the first round and then disappears as the event goes on and on.
Oh yeah, that would be Mr. Oberg's thing.
That is his
for
MO.
Sure. Just top 10s and top 20s on Ludwig. That's where you want to go with him.
We're simpatico on old Matt Fitzpatrick this week at the British Open. Will we be simpatico on Offensive Player of the Year? I mentioned why I like Bajan at 8.5 to 1, and I'm not traditionally a guy who bets atop these boards for the awards market. Who is your boy other than AJ Brown? Is there anyone else that intrigues you?
I mean, like it's multiple guys at the top, right? It's just based off. I think that the favorites are pretty accurately priced. I'm not rushing to bet any of them. I completely understand why you would land on Bijan. I mean, I think he's going to have. You laid it out perfectly. Right? I think he is set up to have a monster season. Like I think Jahmyr Gibbs, right? We know how good he is. Montgomery out of town now. It opens things up a little bit more.
He's explosive.
They've got Pacheco in there, but I don't think it's going to be as true. That's not going to be a true split like we saw with Montgomery in years past.
Also, Campbell's job's on the line, and his best chance for success in winning is to get Gibbs the football any way, shape, or form, right? Whether that's passing the ball, whether that's running the ball, that's in the red zone. Let Jahmyr Gibbs cook. Let me throw a few more at you.
Okay.
So this is I bet this a year ago at around the same number, and he got hurt. And it's a long shot for a reason. I feel like I always have to preface that. It's a long shot for a reason. But Brock Bowers is 70 to 1. Brock Bowers is a tight end. A tight end has never won Offensive Player of the Year. There's a lot working against us here. As a rookie, he led all tight ends in receiving yards with almost 1,200. He was injured in year 2 at 84 for 630. But there's a lot of transition in Vegas. 1, Kirk Cousins. 2, Clint Kubiak. Kubiak, I'm reading quotes. We know we have to get the most out of him. We know we have to get him the football. They love him. Is he going to be treated like JSN was treated in Seattle a year ago? Because no one saw that coming from Jackson Smith and Jigba on his way to Offensive Player of the Year. Well, how is he treated? He was fed the ball often. Critical downs, moving the chains, short stuff, deep stuff. He was the focal point of the entire offense. Kubiak had no shame of force-feeding him the ball. When you look at this passing attack for the Raiders, it should be improved. The line is better. You have a veteran in Cousins. The receivers still leave a lot to be desired. Why wouldn't we anticipate Brock Bowers getting a workload like we've never seen from a tight end before? So I went back and looked. Kubiak, when he was the OC with the Vikings, Tyler Conklin had like 600 yards. He also had Juwan Johnson with New Orleans, who had about 548. I just think this is a situation where this is the number one receiver. I know he's a tight end, but we live in a world in a day and age where Travis Kelce and George Kittle and all these tight ends have kind of opened up the path for another receiving tight end to have a historic year. Bowers, I'd argue, is more physically special than those guys. And if you look what Kirk Cousins did last year when he regained the starting job with Kyle Pitts, so he averaged 5.5 receptions, 63 yards per game, Kyle Pitts, at the end of the season. That's over the last, I believe, 6-7 games, something like that. 9 for 59, 7 for 82, 6 for 90, 11 for 166. I just think that Kirk Cousins is upgrading the offense in a way and knows to keep his job, to stay a starter in the league, he's got to make sure Brock Bowers makes him look good.
So I love the points.
Oh, it's very unlikely.
Hate the bet.
It's very unlikely.
You know, and you know why? It's just a simple thing. And look, maybe this changes. Maybe people's minds change. I think he is set up for a very big season. Agree with that. Trey McBride last year.
Historic.
At tight end, he had 126 receptions. That was second in the league behind Puka Nacua. I mean, he goes for over 1,200 yards, has 11 touchdowns, and he got 1 vote for Offensive Player of the Year.
That is a great point.
I just like he has to have that type of season, and it's probably comparable teams, right? A team success.
And they might be a little bit better, a little more relevant, but you're right. You're right.
Like he's not like they're not making the playoffs, right? They're not making the playoffs, so he's not going to be like, well,
Sure.
you really rode Brock Bowers all the way to the playoffs.
It's going to have to be absurd. It's going to have to be absurd.
It would have to be incredible.
Maybe the touchdowns are absurd. The yards per catch. That's fair. All right, let me interest you this shorter down the board. 22-1, Derrick Henry, 32 years old. The oldest skill player to win Offensive Player of the Year is Jerry Rice at 31. The oldest running backs to win the award, both at 29, Priest Holmes, 2002, Barry Sanders in 1997. If you just isolate the last 5 weeks of last season, where theoretically you'd think a 31, 32-year-old Derrick Henry is wearing down, 132.8 yards per game on the ground, 1.2 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry. Now, in terms of matchups this year, he does have to face a few of the top run defense. He'll get number 1 Jacksonville from a year ago, number 7 Indy, number 2 Houston, number 10 Chargers, number 5 Tampa. But he also gets number 32 Cincinnati twice, number 28 Buffalo, number 24 Atlanta, number 23 Dallas, number 21 Carolina, number 19 New Orleans, number 17 Cleveland twice, and they should be worse without Garrett, plus Pittsburgh, who was 15th. The head coach is Jesse Minter. Whose school does he come from? The Jim Harbaugh school. Control the game, win the clock, own possessions, play for the fourth quarter, be efficient. How do you do that while also keeping Lamar healthy? You lean on the run game. To me, it means more running. But does that mean more Henry? Because they have other running backs that they can mix in as well. But I just think at 22-1, there's a world where Derrick Henry just puts up monster efficiency numbers on the ground. And if he's averaging, like I just said, it was 132.8 over the last 5. He doesn't have to do that, but a little bit off that pace. If he's capable, could we be talking about Derrick Henry 22-1?
Look, the great Danny Higgins clapped back at me the last time that I talked a little bit of smack from Derrick Henry. So I won't go this far to say that there's no chance. Him, Christian McCaffrey, at those odds, with the injury possibilities and just age, and this is, I don't know that I believe in this. This is a trend from great Khalif TA. 16 skill position winners have won this since 2000. All were 28 or younger. And I'm not believing, you know me, I'm not a believer in trends that can't be broken. It's just, it's more unlikely the older these guys get. And they're both of those backs are asked to do so much. And I actually think, you're wondering how the carries are going to be split up in the backfield. I think there might be a little bit more emphasis of getting the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands, though, so maybe that's not an issue.
No, totally.
Not for me, but I get it.
Do you know what I enjoyed?
Awesome.
Do you know what I enjoyed this segment? Something that rarely happens around these parts. Kelly Bidlin disagreed with me. We're allowed to disagree.
I hate those bets.
Yeah. We're allowed to disagree on bets. I understand they're long. This is what comes back to, by the way, Bijan Robinson 8.5 to 1.
I can't argue that one. Yep.
The more we talk about the other options, the more Bijan Robinson jumps off the page.
That's right. It's just the top of this board is going to be so tough to beat.
We're going to talk Sun Belt football next. The favorite to win the Sun Belt has 4 players returning and a new head coach. Make that make sense. We'll try next on A Numbers Game.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's A Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Dustin Sweetelson, in for Gil Alexander this week. That's Kelly Bidlin. He's always here. He never leaves. He lives at Circa. It's no big deal. Has a residency.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
By the way,
Would you come see a lounge act if I did a regular lounge act?
Is it just you complaining about your bets?
No, I'd mix it up.
Okay, because honestly, I think there's some people that would sign up for that. You just lament about your bets losing. I guess that's kind of what we're here for, though.
Yeah. We already have 3 hours a day for that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And look, when it comes to the college football season coming up here, I am a big proponent of finding smaller leagues to bet on. I have an affinity for the Sun Belt because I lived in Georgia for a long time, from 2003 to 2010-ish, and my family still based in Atlanta. So I follow the Sun Belt pretty closely every year.
Yeah.
There's usually a team with value, and their media days are currently going on in Louisiana, which, by the way, is top 2 options for my bachelor party, Louisiana and Austin, Texas. Maybe we could do a debate with that.
I was going to say, do you have a specific city in Louisiana?
New Orleans.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. But
Shreveport?
I just thought it was odd that you just said Louisiana than Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
okay.
some random town in Louisiana. No, it's going to be New Orleans. And I'm looking at the board. You and I were discussing this. James Madison's the favorite to win the Sun Belt. They're plus 270. And I understand that based on track record and history. You got Curt Cignetti into Bob Chesney. Well, Bob Chesney took the UCLA job. He also brought a ton of players with him. Only 4 Dukes returned to JMU, yet they're the favorite plus 270. To help us make sense of that and the rest of this conference that I find to be very fun to bet on, we're going to bring in David Schultz. He hosts the Locked On Sunbelt podcast. You can find him on X at SchultzyCast, and he joins us live from New Orleans, Louisiana. David, help us understand this. The Dukes, the top of the betting board at plus 270. Bob Chesney took a lot of the players to UCLA. Others have left. They bring in Billy Napier, who was great in this league from 2019 to 2021, going 34-5. Do you think they warrant being the favorite here?
First things first, there is a casino here. I don't know if you need that on your bachelor party since you live at one. So there is a casino here if you want to do New Orleans, right? And that's right smack in the middle of downtown. I always take these preseason coaches polls with a grain of salt because, especially now in the era of the transfer portal, the head coaches don't know what they have, right? They've been through one spring practice. They haven't had fall camp yet. And so not only don't they know what they have, the other teams don't know what they have. So we're doing it on Billy Napier, who had a lot of success with the Cajuns, right? Went to 4 bowl games, won a Sun Belt championship before he took the Florida game. I will say he was the beneficiary, and you guys can go back and look at this. He had 4 years, and his starting quarterback started every game. He had Andre Nunez the first year, and then Levi Lewis the last 3 years. And I'm not sure you can find a starting quarterback that started, the whole season 2 years in a row. Even Stetson Bennett the fourth didn't do that. And so, so if you can have a starting quarterback play that way, those usually get the favorite. So you usually go with the guys with the quarterback and coming back. That's why Troy is favored in the West with Goose Crowder and Jared Parker. Troy played JMU in the Sun Belt Championship last year, coming up short. Cajuns returning Lunch Winfield, which is a great name. He's about to get a national NIL deal. You love that for a Sun Belt guy. But he's coming back with Mike Desimo. And you do have Old Dominion, who's got a lot of depth, especially on defense, but they were actually replacing their quarterback, Colton Joseph, who took off. You got Quinn Hinical, who is the fastest on the team. We just don't know what JMU has. Like you said, they have like 4 or 5 guys remaining from the whole team. We had, a big offensive lineman who's already graduated college, and they get their running back, George Pettaway, back as well. But other than that, it is a, crapshoot for JMU because we just don't know.
Absolutely. David Schultz doing an awesome job. Locked On Sunbelt, breaking down the Sunbelt. We look for these leagues as bettors to really focus in on and specialize in. So with that, maybe there's some value on this board, David. And let's go with the second shot right now for now, Old Dominion. You kind of touched on it. Ricky Ronnie, 6th year, 30-33, 10-3 last year, though. The only 2 losses, Indiana and James Madison. That's pretty impressive. Joseph, the quarterback, he went to Wisconsin. You mentioned that. Heinkel takes over. He beat USF in the bowl game. Defense has some production back. What do you make of ODU coming into this year?
Well, it's a good opportunity to build what they had last year. Ricky Ronnie is the elder statesman in terms of coaching experience in this conference. He's actually coaching, I believe, his 7th year with the team, but they didn't play during COVID. So he got paid for not doing anything in 2020 because ODU opted out that year. So he's got the most years in the Sun Belt. Butch Jones is right behind him. ODU went into Blacksburg last year and basically ended the career of Brent Pry up there in Blacksburg. They're going up there again, all right? You got ODU going up into Blacksburg again, and could they take down James Franklin and Virginia Tech once again? They play that a couple of years ago. They brought in the Fordham offensive coordinator. They play a spread. They play fast. Quarterback can run, and they are explosive offensively. The thing has always been defense, and like you said, they're bringing 7 guys back on defense, so can they get some stops when they need them? What is the value? What do you got there for Marshall? Because that may be
9-1 on Marshall.
Bet on.
Yeah.
Where's Marshall? Marshall's plus 900. There's good value in that. They got my guy from Syracuse, former Orange, Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He's the preseason offensive player of the year. And again, quarterback is back with the head coach, Tony Gibson, who's heading into his 2nd year as a head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. Marshall also has 4 other guys on preseason All Sun Belt. 2 offensive linemen, a wide receiver, and a tight end. So Carlos Del Rio Wilson's going to have plenty of weapons. Can they get stops on offense? They open up with James Franklin's former team taking on Penn State. And Penn State with Matt Campbell, all new operation. So we'll see if Marshall can pull off a surprise. And a few years ago, they did, right, by beating, they went into Notre Dame and took down the Irish. Sunbelt did that all one day, right? Marshall beat Notre Dame, App State beat the Aggies, and Georgia Southern finished it off with taking down Nebraska.
David Schultz is our guest, breaking down the Sun Belt this year, live from Media Days, New Orleans, Louisiana. At SchultzyCast, you can find him on X. Locked On Sun Belt is the podcast. You touched on it at the beginning, though, David. Troy's 8-1. They're the favorite in the West. Just because they have quarterback play coming back, it just feels like a little bit of a safe team. They made the Sun Belt title game a year ago. They lost to JMU. Their best defender returns in Donnie Smith. Former Tarleton OC Adam Austin comes in. They put up huge numbers at FCS. Goose Crowder, Tucker Kilcrease, both of them are back for Troy this year. That kind of shocked me when I saw that.
Well, Goose is their starting quarterback, and I'm not kidding, guys. He gets his name from the movie Top Gun. That's where he gets the nickname from. He is, talk to me, Goose. All right? That's where he gets his nickname from. It's important to keep him healthy. Goose has not been healthy for most of the last 2 years. Got hurt early a couple years ago, got hurt last year, came back. So it's important to keep Goose Crowder healthy. But Donnie Smith is the best defensive player in the conference. They also have preseason special teams. Evan Crenshaw, the punter, he's special teams player of the year preseason, and he's a weapon. He's going to be among the nation's leaders in punting, going to be up for that Right Guy Award. And so Troy is expected to do really well in the West. It's not just because of Goose being back, but that defense is going to be something special. Jared Parker now in his third year with the Trojans. He goes from not knowing which way to, coming off the bus, going on the Trojan walk, which way to go to the locker room, to playing in the Sun Belt Championship last year. So Troy is probably not bad value either, although they are the favorite in the West.
David, thanks for joining us. I want to ask you, we talk about a lot of these conferences and what these teams have lost and who's going out. Just who coming in is the single most impactful transfer in your mind coming into the Sun Belt Conference?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you got to go with right now App State's Malachi Singleton, right? We got 3 quarterbacks here at Sun Belt Media Days, all of them returners. Malachi Singleton, the only one that was not a returning player, so he had some experience with Dowell Loggins. He went to Purdue instead, didn't play very much, and is now at App State. So Malachi Singleton, the quarterback for App State, and again, Dowell Loggins didn't get the quarterback right last year, was giving up a bunch of interceptions, and it's just such a key player. And, we can go back to JMU and Billy Napier. Billy never got the quarterback right at Florida, and that's why they struggled, and that's why he's at JMU. So if you can get the quarterback right, and it's got to be such a relief to these coaches, guys, heading into fall camp, knowing who the quarterback is. That has got to be just the way to go compared to answering questions from us all day long on who that starting quarterback is.
Right. Yeah.
David, that was awesome, man. It was great to finally chat with you after years and years of following each other on social. Tremendous job with the Sun Belt. We're going to talk during the season. We're going to talk to you a couple times before the season. You like Marshall as maybe a value play, but you see value on the board.
Yes.
That's the word we like
I
to
do.
hear around here. Avoid the favorite. Find someone you like. Let's latch on to him. He's David Schultz. Check out the Locked On Sun Belt podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at SchultzyCast on X. Enjoy the rest of Media Days, man. Really appreciate you doing this.
Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go give you value. Dustin, if you want to do something for a bachelor party, the Bourbon Trail is where to go. I work up there, all right? I'll take you around, all right? You go from distillery to distillery to distillery, and I'll get you some special pork.
That's a good
Done.
one right there.
I'm in. You might have just
That's
sold
a
me
good
on
one.
New Orleans. He's also part of the tourism authority. Who knew? Who knew? Recruiting people. Hey, the VSiN NFL betting guide, it's out right now. All the futures that you want to bet, we haven't broken down. All of the teams as well. Get it today with our football special for just $175. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. We'll share information from the NFC East and a quarterback whose schedule lines up great for MVP. That's next on A Numbers Game.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on A Numbers Game. I'm Dustin Sweetelson. That is Kelly Bidlin. We get tweets at VSiN Live, at Dustin Sweetelson, at Kelly Bidlin. And we have another contender for tweet of the day. I got to tell you. And,
Really?
And this started out with this guy hating me, apparently, which is fine. I hate myself. That's why I go to therapy every other week. Corbin writes in, morning, guys. I know this week has felt really long having to listen to schizophrenic Gil shout random years relating to wars around the world, but today he's definitely growing on me. Vindicated hoof videos and 10 years of dynasties. Maybe it's not all nonsense. No, the irony is all the things you like are the nonsense. It's the substance you don't like from me.
Yeah. I appreciate the nonsense from you, buddy.
PK writes in, good morning. I saw Bill's email about Jolt, VSiN Jolt, by the way, check it out, and have been eyeing it on the board for a bit, along with OKTA, or I think he means Orca TV. Unrelated, do you guys remember Jolt Cola? Do you remember Jolt Cola?
Hell yeah, I do.
I remember we used to go to the bowling alley without our parents. And yeah, that's what I replied. We used to, it was Red Bull before Red Bull.
Yeah.
And our parents would pick us up and be like, were my 9-year-olds doing lines in the bathroom at the bowling alley?
What were the other ones? Yeah, Surge. Surge is the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, but Jolt was the one.
Yeah,
Jolt,
Jolt
I think one time was outlawed. And then somehow Monster and Red Bull show up years later and they get approved.
What was the one with why am I blanking on the one with the booze in it when we were in college?
Booze?
Four Locos. Four Locos, man. Ooh.
You know, I never had an original Four Loko.
Yeah, oh, man.
Because look at me.
We had cases.
We can do the full shot here. It's pretty. I don't have self-control. And when I don't do anything in moderation.
Yeah, me
That
neither.
is my thing. I don't do moderation. It's an issue. I just kind of have to accept it at 41 years old. If I'm going to eat, I'm eating until it hurts, unfortunately. If I'm going to go party, I'm partying until the sun comes up. If I'm drinking, it's not drinking to have a couple drinks. It's to go all out. If I'm watching Netflix, I'm watching 8 hours to finish a show in a weekend. I'm not doing one or two at a time. So for me, Four Loko was just something I knew I needed to stay away from.
Yeah, it was a good call by you. They were pretty disgusting overall anyway, so it wasn't like that hard. Like the whole idea of it was cool, right? Like it was cool back then, but they were pretty disgusting.
And lastly, our dude Colin Murphy writes in, at Colin_Murphy84. New Orleans and Austin are awesome choices for your bachelor party, two of the best cities in America. If you're thinking bachelor party, the third I debated throwing out there, this would be like my wrinkle. This would be like my curveball on the black.
Yep.
Yeah, my curveball on the black, right, where we'd have to go to the review to make sure it was a strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yellowstone. Just getting like a cabin in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
But then it's just a bunch of dudes drinking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We're going for the Brokeback Mountain
I was going to
effect.
say, pretty sure I saw a movie about this.
Might cancel the wedding at that point. I don't know if that's appropriate.
I mean, I like that they're just the problem is no. See, now you're straying too far away. I think Austin and New Orleans, or at least are like party cities. You know what you're getting. You're gonna you can't even compare those. And then we did have the Bourbon Trail throughout. That's good. If you wanted a little bit calmer, but you can be drinking with the boys, that would be a good one. I mean, that was a good suggestion.
It's also a good way to
go
mix
to
up
Kentucky.
It's a good way to mix up the day and force everyone to slow down while still drinking at the same time. Because my bachelor party is gonna have people from like different walks of life, different age groups.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to make sure that we go at the right pace where everyone can be involved.
Dude, Austin. I went there I was there 2 summers ago for a guy's trip. I'm shocked at actually how much I enjoyed the city. Dude, first of all, the food's just amazing. It's just like amazing barbecue after amazing
that's
barbecue.
the funny part is everyone's gonna be like, Dustin, why aren't you drinking tonight? Well, we're waking up at 6 a.m. to stand in line for barbecue.
Hell yeah, you are. It's worth it. It's worth every bit. And then you're gonna be like, I'm paying how much money for barbecue? And it is worth every single dollar.
No. Barbecue
and their little party street there is awesome. It's got something for everybody.
Yeah,
like you're talking about. There's live music.
I like
going
stand-up
on.
comedy, so obviously that's all down there now as well. So yeah, that you convinced me of another city. What else should be considered for my bachelor party? At Dustin Sweetelson, at Kelly Bidlin, at VSiN Live. Now, maybe I can convince you of an MVP bet here. Because some news came out yesterday. Ian Rappaport reporting Patrick Mahomes is on track to be on the field week 1 of this season. Patrick Mahomes, 10-1 to win MVP. That is the third shot on the board. Allen is your favorite, 5.5 to 1. Lamar Jackson is 8 to 1. Joe Burrow's 8.5. Then you have Mahomes. So I wrote up in the VSiN NFL betting guide. You can get it right now, part of the football special for $175. Sign up to everything we do, VSiN.com/subscribe. I wrote up Brock Purdy, and I'm not a Brock Purdy guy. You can read what I wrote up to understand why I'm on that situationally. Another year in the system, the addition of Mike Evans. As long as he stays healthy, just the efficiency numbers are off the charts.
But by the way, real quick, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
But at 22 to 1, the upside's there to be right there with the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
However, the more I started thinking about a guy atop the board here, the more it made sense. And that is Joe Burrow. Okay? Joe Burrow is on a team that has to get off to a hot start because Zach Taylor's job's on the line. Also, it is the weirdest upside down bizarro world we're in. The Cincinnati Bengals are the team with continuity in the AFC North, right? John Harbaugh gone from Baltimore, new regime.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy replaces Mike Tomlin. They are definitely going to take a step back. Like, what are we talking about here? And then we have Todd Monken taking over in Cleveland where they don't have Myles Garrett anymore. They're the only team where you're like, I know the base of what they're trying to do, but they have to get off to a hot start. They have to get off to a fast start. They have to avoid the slow starts. If they come out with the sense of urgency that I think they're going to this year, I think he can start putting up monster numbers. The defense is going to be better with the additions they made on the D-line, so they're not going to blow games.
Yeah, that is true.
If you're one of these people that's obsessed with win-loss record and seeding and being the one seed, well, the defense being better helps their case for potentially being the one seed in the AFC. I didn't even mention the receiving core, which is arguably the best in football. Yeah. Chase Higgins, Isavas, and then at tight end, you have Sample and Gesicki. You could both go off. But when I looked at the schedule this year, it's not necessarily who they're playing. It's more about the types of teams they're playing. Let's go pre-bye on the Bengals, weeks 1 through 6. They open with Tampa Bay, 27th in pass defense a year ago. Week 2, Houston, 5th in pass defense. That's going to be hard. Week 3, Pittsburgh, 29th. They're probably taking a step back. Jacksonville, 20th. Miami, 18th, who's definitely going to be worse. Baltimore, 30th. That is just their first 6 games of the season. We go deeper down in the schedule. After week 8, when they come back from the bye, Tennessee, 23rd. They'll probably be better on defense, but how much better are they going to be defending the pass? Atlanta was solid 11th. Pittsburgh, again, 29th. They have Washington, who was 28th. They have Cleveland, who was 30 a year ago, but there's no Myles Garrett anymore. They see them twice. They see Baltimore, who was 30th twice. They're also going to get Carolina, who was 15th. Indianapolis, who was 31st. They have one top 5 pass defense on their schedule from a year ago. They have 3 top 10, and one of them is Cleveland, who I'd say it makes it 2 top 10. They face the 31st, the 30th, the 29th, the 28th, the 27th. The first 6 games, 5 versus 18th or worse from a year ago. We were talking about this in a meeting here about prediction markets, about the cash out option. If you get a guy who gets off to a hot start, why wouldn't you take a big chunk of that cash out early? Even if Joe Burrow doesn't win MVP, I think the way the schedule shakes out with so many bad pass defenses from a year ago, and usually bad pass defenses are teams that have great run defenses. Well, you're abandoning the run. You're going to throw all over them. That plays right into crazy statistics for Burrow. Even if he doesn't win MVP, it could be a situation where he gets off to such a good start to the season, you just cash out for about 75, 80% of the winnings.
Yeah, that's the old bet multiple tickets on the same one.
Dude,
so
you and me have been on that. That is our thing.
Yeah, I'll give Matt Brown credit first. He's the first person I ever heard bring it up. But not that it's reinventing the wheel or anything, but still, it's such a great, simple weapon to add to your betting arsenal.
Well, you also have to, it's a psychological thing. Because for me last year, I had 2 tickets on Bijan Robinson. One was bigger from the preseason, from early when I first started betting. Then I put a smaller one on saying, well, if this gets to this number, I'll cash out. Well, guess what happens? Bijan Robinson catapulted up the board, and early in the year looked like one of the 2 or 3 guys that was going to win it.
Yep.
I didn't cash out, and I made that mistake. It's a psychological thing where you're like, I'm up. I'm going to keep riding this because I feel like I have an advantage. No. At that point in the year, there were still too many names in the mix. I should have taken one of those cash outs. So that's what I'd warn people. Remind yourself when you're staring at that cash out button, you did this for a reason with the 2 bets.
Yeah, if that's why you bet it, then yes. you need to be following through, right?
I got greedy.
Some Cleve trends for you on MVP. 13 straight, 18 of the last 19 MVPs have been quarterbacks. Teams have averaged just over 13 wins per season. No MVP in the last 25 years has come from a team with less than 11 wins.
Ooh.
But I think Burrow's going to be good. To back up your point,
they might win 12.
You know what my problem is with the they might win 12. My problem is with the top of the board. Yes. I mean, everybody who listens to this show knows where I'm going here. When I look at the top of the MVP board, if I'm betting one of the favorites, it's going to be Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, why? Because he plays. He plays every single game, and the guy he doesn't have wide receivers. He doesn't need wide receivers. The rushing stats end up being so much. I just couldn't preseason. I couldn't get involved with anybody else at the top.
I'm not
getting involved with Josh Allen.
No, 5.5 is just too short.
Too short.
But he also, if you just from just when you watch him play, the narrative of he takes on the burden of being the leader of the team on a different level than a lot of these other guys have to do. Hey, the Circus Survivor documentary is back for another season. It's
go.
bigger than ever this year. 7 all-new episodes kick off every Wednesday starting next week, July 22nd on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Episode 1 takes you inside the growth of the most electrifying contest in sports betting, plus the addition of the new Grandissimo for the higher stakes bettors. Check it out every Wednesday starting next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN. Question is, will there be appearances from Kelly Bidlin and Dustin Sweetelson? I bet the under or whatever they set the number
Better
at.
be.
All right, more numbers game coming up.